Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thrive Beyond Cancer Summit. Today's guest is Tamaey Gottuso, and I'm so excited that you're with us. Tamaey is a transformational leader, a conscious channel, and a manifesting catalyst. Tamaey, thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Hi, Tekquiree. I had to write your name down too. We're just decided we're going to call each other T. We're just going to forget the complications.
Yes.
So great to be with you today.
Thank you. I'm so great that you're here. And thank you for everything that you do and for your light and your support. And I just can't wait to ask you so many questions. And my first question that I have for you is, how do we forget who we are and what we came here to do?
How do we forget?
Yeah.
And I'm going to make notes too, because then I can really answer the question,
Okay.
purposefully. So long before we come into this body, into this incarnation, into this reality, I like to make it sort of user friendly. So before we come into the body, we're on the other side. Call it heaven, call it a different dimension, whatever you personally choose. All right. And I like to see it as we're all sitting around a conference table with our soul team, with our guides and our mentors who are going to support us after we incarnate into this lifetime. And we collectively go, okay, what is Tamaey or Tekquiree? I got it, didn't I?
You
Tekquiree.
did.
And look at my note real quick.
You did.
What is Tamaey or Tekquiree? What do they want to experience in this life, right? So there are things that we want to experience. And from that blueprint that we create for ourselves, along with our guides and our team before we get here, that blueprint for our life is in place. And so that means that on the other side, we choose our parents, we choose where we're going to live, we choose, partners and different people on this path who are going to help us achieve the goals that we predestined for ourselves. So with that understanding, off we come into planet Earth. But the agreement also is that we come in with amnesia. We don't remember who we are. That's the game. And it really is that in a big way. We forget who we are, the amnesia kicks in, and and why the amnesia? Why can't we remember who we are? We create the amnesia because this journey, this life is a journey back to oneness, a journey back to ourselves, a journey of remembering who we are. And the best way to remember who we are, or the sweetness around that remembering at some stage in our life, is to forget who we are.
Wow.
So it's a fascinating concept. Like most people think, well, why did I go through cancer? Why have I had all this trauma? Believe it or not, we're 100% responsible for our reality, right? I've had cancer now 3 times. Why? Yeah. So,
really?
yeah. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, most people don't. It's not something unless I'm talking about it, we talk about it. So that answers your question. We forget because the sweetness of the remembering, like, oh my God, that victory, that aha is like connecting with that blueprint that you created. And went, oh my God, I did it.
Yeah.
I remembered. I got through all the muck and I remembered.
Yeah.
And that reconnection is so sweet. That's why.
So do you think that it's something that we forget later on? Because, some people say that when we're young or when we're babies or when we're toddlers, like we remember, but then over a course of time, we forget. Or even when I think back on my life, when I just knew what I wanted to do, when I had all of this joy and enthusiasm and it felt good, like life felt good. And then it just got to this point where life didn't feel good anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I here? And being frustrated with that. Is that what it is, do you think? Or
So when we're young, and our children are perfect examples of that, they're excited and all those things that you said. So they're not long into this human experience. So they're still energetically tied to the other side. They
Mhm.
don't know that because they're just little, right? So they can't
Yeah,
consciously put to words what that is, but
right.
that's the joy, that's the excitement that they're living. They're still deeply connected. But as life happens, as we experience different things in our childhood, from our parents, be it abuse or some being bullied at school, or somebody telling us that we're not beautiful or we're
Yeah,
dumb, or all these negative things,
yeah.
that begins the separation, right, of from our true selves. And
Mhm.
so, just think about it. Every time a young child is told they're dumb or they're ugly or somebody's mean to them, they start to internalize all that, and their light begins to be suppressed, and
Mhm.
then they start to live in fear. And that fear then starts to be the foundation of which all choices are made,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So when we have this young life of being traumatized, our self-worth, our self-esteem, we don't remember that. And the longer we're on this planet, so by the time you hit your teens and your 20s and your 30s and the 40s and then 50s, if you've just, life has beat you down and you haven't made, remembered that this human experience, only 5 to 10% of your actual soul resides in this human body. The remainder of each of us resides on the other side, guiding us every step of the way. So life beats us down and we forget, and then we don't want to dream big because we don't believe, because everybody's told us in our history it's not possible. So there are many, many, many layers to the forgetting, process. Does that answer your question?
yeah, it does. It's interesting, as I think back on so many things, and even when you just talked about um like our light being dim, when people tell us stuff. It brought me to, so one of my very close cousins, she told me, like, when I used to live in LA. So when I first, from the time I moved to LA up until when I was diagnosed, which was 10 years, which, they say, oh, it could take like 10 years before you actually, your body shows like you've developed like cancer, right? She told me like every year she saw like my light getting more dim.
Mhm.
And I was just like, wow, this is so interesting, because I think prior to that, she saw me as this person who was full of light and thriving and like loved life. And then it was all about like work and responsibility and just
Yeah.
not like being in my power, and living this life where I just knew like there was more, but I just didn't. I'm trying to do it the way that people told me like I should do, like working in the entertainment industry or whatnot. Like, this is what you should do to, like, be successful. But it was
Mhm.
also going against what I really wanted from myself, and I
Mhm.
didn't know how to
Yeah.
process or separate that or figure it. I didn't slow down enough to let go of things and figure it
Yeah.
out.
And so many people, when we, what do we want? There's nothing that we want more as a child than to be loved by our parents,
Hmm.
right? Or adult figures in our life. We want to be loved. Ultimately, that's what we're all seeking, is love.
Yeah.
And because it's really what we're really seeking at a deeper level is that reconnection to ourselves. And when we came into this human experience, an aspect of us separated from our true self. And so there's a bit of a void. And then we've got these dynamics of things that we've gone in our childhood. And so when our esteem is low, when we don't have the confidence in ourselves, we're looking for love in all the wrong places. So when somebody's saying, Tekquiree, go in the entertainment. This is what you should do. But that's the human personality, ego, want to be loved aspect of you. That was the people pleaser saying, okay, tell me and I'll do this because I want to please you. But internally, your soul was saying, that's not your path.
Yeah.
But so it takes time. It takes commitment to our personal and spiritual development with coaches, teachers, mentors, therapists, whomever can help us heal these aspects of us that are less than who we truly are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just say really quick too, what's so interesting about that is, like, I knew I always wanted to work in entertainment, but there are certain things that I wanted to do and certain things I didn't want to do. And so what I didn't want to do in entertainment ended up being my life more than the things that I really wanted to do in entertainment, which would be, along the lines of this actually, or, acting and expressing myself. So, sometimes I think we also get caught up in money, paycheck, like I need to do this so I can continue to live the lifestyle that I'm living, or because I don't want to look like a failure, because I've acquired these things. And so I have to keep up with it, but really it's bringing me down.
Yeah.
So that's you saying that. It's like, okay, yeah. And wanting to be like, oh, people like, oh, you're going to be successful, not wanting to let them down. But my definition of success is different than, their definition, even though they mean well,
That's right.
But
And it's real. This life is really a journey for most of us of reclaiming our power. So we're really healing these deeper aspects of ourself around our worthiness and reclaiming our power and saying, you know what, this path, this lifetime is about me finding myself, remembering who I am, and from that place, following my truth and saying yes to me only when it feels good. Because as you do your inner work, there will come a point for anyone listening to this interview that what other people think, you just won't care.
Yeah.
That's always the beautiful barometer of how far you've come on your path is, do you really care what other people think?
Yeah.
You know what? And if you care, it's you've got to look inside and do the work, right? Because this journey isn't about anyone else, about pleasing anyone else. This journey is about remembering that you came here for you. This is your path to experience any reality of your own choosing.
Yeah.
And you create your own suffering by trying to people please and go against what you don't want to do. I mean, think about the holidays. How many people around the holidays are with their families or doing things they don't want to do? So you got a bunch of people in a room gathered who are bitchy and angry because they don't want to be there, and everybody's in a bad mood and it's emotional upheaval. Why? Because everybody in there feels obligated from a society that says, if you're born into this family, you got to stay with your family. I don't believe any of it. You've got to have the courage to leave those people or separate from those people or let go of those relationships that are no longer in alignment with your growth.
Yeah.
And many times that you're leaving a lot of people behind. But you know what? Then you open the space for those others to step in to help you, on this stage of your journey.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't feel good, long story short, if whatever choices you're making in your life, if they don't feel good, your higher self, your internal guidance is saying, trust that. Let that person go. Step out of that relationship. Find a new job. Move to a new city. Right? Your internal guidance system is always your connection to source, always guiding you. And people create their own suffering when they don't listen to that. And how many times have we all gone, I knew I shouldn't have done that, but that's how we create our own suffering. I mean, nothing makes me more crazy when somebody says, well, why did God do that to me? Why did God has nothing to do with it? That we're 100% responsible for all of it.
Yeah.
We got to look in the mirror and go, oh my God, this life I'm living, good, bad, indifferent, it's all me.
Yeah.
It's all me.
Wow, that makes me want to cry because someone asked me at this spiritual like yoga session, how did I develop? She didn't say specifically to me, although I know she was also talking to me, but she said, how did you develop cancer in your heart space? And like ever since she said that, I think about it a lot, you know, like how did I develop breast cancer? You know, from every angle, you know, you can think of it from any angle, but really like I started thinking about the way I've been feeling like for the last 10 years or so, or even childhood stuff, you know, things I've experienced, things I've suppressed.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so deep because we never really talk about stuff like that.
That's right.
No one's ever really having those conversations.
Disease in the body is repressed emotion. Disease in the body is the last place for all of our emotional stuff to land. And so it doesn't matter if we have a headache, if we have cancer, if we have indigestion, if we have a backache, there's a significant energetic tied to that, right? So the fact that you had cancer in your, what was your cancer, Tekquiree?
Inflammatory breast cancer that metastasized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I read your story. It freaking blew. You were diagnosed when you were pregnant, right?
Yes, 36 weeks.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
what a blessing that it was that far along. I mean, that
Yeah.
you were at the end, right? And baby was born healthy.
Yes. Yes, he was.
Freaking miracle. Just
I
a freaking
know.
miracle.
I
And
know.
what a blessing. And that's a gift. I mean, it's it's all information, right? Every experience has information for us. That was telling you that your guides and your team were very conscious of this beautiful soul that was birthing through you, right? And didn't want any disruption. So no, it's not a coincidence, right? There is a very specific reason that your cancer was diagnosed at the time, because the baby was born shortly after. So, it was a beautifully, as as traumatic as what you went through was, it all had purpose, right? But to your point of why different parts of the body, it's because of our hearts hurting, your heart hurting, the suppressed emotion, layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, right, of dimming your light. And at some point, if that stuff isn't dealt with, it shows up in the body as disease.
Yeah.
So, you know and then also you go into the next higher level of it. You cannot teach. I mean, it's all for us. The cancer, all of it was for you. I mean, I've been through chemo as well, so I know how sick and how miserable the whole, process is. But with that, on the other side of it, now look at you and I.
Yeah.
The awareness, the compassion, the breadth of the knowledge, the lessons, the receiving. We had to be receivers to receive help, and so many layers. So it's all for us.
Yeah.
It's all for us.
Big breakthrough.
Huge. And unfortunately, it didn't have to get to that place.
Right.
Had you and I been aware of things and done our healing work along the way, it wouldn't have had to have developed into a full-blown cancer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it did, and there was also growth opportunity.
Yes.
All of it's for us.
Yes. And you tell me, like, so it didn't have to get to that place, but prior to that, I'm sure like you were getting like nudges, or like God was talking to you, or you felt a certain way, like maybe I should go this direction, or I should do this, or I shouldn't do that, or this, that, and the third. Did you feel that as well? And when you go back and you think about it, you're like, wow, I should have listened to myself as opposed to like self-sabotaging myself.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing. There are very two distinctive parts of our human experience. We've got our soul self, which is our true, authentic God self. And then we've got this other aspect of the human personality, ego self, right? Which is running the show most of our lives. So anytime we're thinking or analyzing, that's always from this egoic, wounded part of us. The choices we're making, the which are normally based in fear, right? There's fear and love. So are the choices I'm making or how I'm feeling in this moment, is it a love vibration or a fear vibration, right? So we're always know where we're at when we can sit and be quiet, or go for a walk, or be in joy or appreciation, and feel soft. That soft energy is beautiful feminine energy. In that is where truth can be heard, in the heart space, not here. The head is just the tool that helps us visualize, helps us figure out which direction to go. But we have to connect first and foremost here with our authentic true self, our soul self. And when we start to go, you know what? I'm here in this meditation and I'm thinking about this job opportunity. And does it feel good? That's what you follow. And when you do that, like we've not done many times, right? Then the road gets so much easier, because we really are guided every minute of every day. We just aren't paying attention most times.
Yeah, and I had stopped doing that, like, or going against what I knew was true for me.
Oh, sure. Sure. Because of money
Don't as
fears.
much, of course,
That's
because
right.
when you're faced with your own mortality, you're just like, this is how I'm living my life now,
Yeah.
and you keep going like deeper and deeper within to make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, disease or sickness or flu or colds force us to stop.
Yeah.
Pain is unfortunately a powerful motivator.
Yeah.
I mean, think about when you get the flu or you're really sick, all you want to do is sleep and be in bed and be taken care of and relax. There's no resistance. Source can only get through to us when we're not in resistance, which is most of the time for most people, which is driving the full speed ahead, the fear-based thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to succeed, I've got to make money. It's coming from the wrong place, and it's never going to be long lasting. We've got to just be. And from that place, the inspiration will come, the guidance will come, the money then will flow, because there's no resistance. Takes time to get there.
Seriously.
Takes time. It takes a lot of letting go of a bunch of stuff that's crowding the space for the awarenesses and the guidance to come.
Wow. That's really deep when you really think about it, or when you sit with that.
Yeah.
Wow. One of the things I also I heard you say is how we are able to, or can you talk about miracles? Like, we have the power um, to create miracles in our lives.
Yeah.
How
A
do we create miracles in our lives? I believe in miracles, of course, but some people have a hard time with knowing that they have the power to create miracles or anything else in their life.
There's nothing I love talking more about than manifesting, because manifesting and magic and miracles, all of it is simply aligning with source. And how do you align with source? You you find joy in your life. When we're in the joy vibration, the happy vibration, the peaceful, calm vibration, we're in alignment with source. We're in alignment with everything we desire. We're in alignment with the energy that creates worlds. And when I'm feeling good, there again, we talk about there's no resistance. When I feel really, really good, that's source saying you're in alignment. And in this space, like energy attracts like energy. And boom, 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 things start to happen. When I'm being more and feeling more and walking on the beach and going for a hike and kissing dogs' faces on my walks and eating delicious food or having a yummy conversation or drinking a great coffee, I'm automatically in alignment with all that's in my dream box, all that source is, and automatically things happen. So there is no real miracle. Miracles and magic are simply aligning to source. And how do you do that? By getting happy. People, the way to manifest a magical life today, Tekquiree, as compared to the old way. So what I mean by the old way is this old victim, lack, limitation consciousness that our planet has vibrated in for many eons of time, right? We've been dominated by a masculine force of fear and control, which you see in news and pharmaceuticals and all that kind of stuff, that fear-based leadership. Well, things have shifted now, and it all started back in 2012. People really didn't understand what the significance of December 21st, 2012 was. And it was really an opening, a portal of powerful light coming into our planet, overtaking the dark forces, if we want to use that language. A sort of a passing of the baton. Now we're in a very high vibrational reality. Our planet is vibrating high. Mother Earth is a vibrating being. And because of all the work that we spiritual light workers, light beings have done on this planet to raise the consciousness of the planet, right? We're now in a reality of high vibration. And so when we've never been more supported than we are now to attain the mastery level of creating magic and miracles, because it's just a lifting. When you're in a high vibrational state, you are in alignment with source, and then stuff just like literally, I was in such a deep meditation yesterday morning, and this happens all day long every day for me now because I'm really been practicing this for many years. But I woke up and I did a great meditation. I was feeling good. I had some tea and it was raining, which is really unusual here in Santa Barbara. So when it rains here in California, we love it because we never get it.
Yep.
I walked out my door and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to see a beautiful rainbow? And literally, when I said that, boom, rainbow. Boom. And it happens all the time. But it's not that was a miracle. I was just vibrating really high where rainbows reside.
Yeah.
So that's the importance of feeling good. We don't have to, if I teach anybody anything, I say, all you got to do is feel good. Have appreciation when you write the rent check. Have appreciation when you spend money. Have appreciation for what money has brought you as you're paying your bills. Write the check and say, thank you. Thank you for the electricity that you provide. And when you shift the energy around money and just love it for what it's done for you, more money will come.
So that's where the whole gratitude comes in, right? Because it's been like the last 5 years or so, at least, more popular where people talk about it. But it's good though that more people are talking about it, because I feel like more people are practicing gratitude.
And the thing is the veils are so thin now, more than they've ever been on this planet, to the other side where perfection and all this magic and miracles resides. The veils are so thin. So we've got to be really diligent in what you think and what you feel. It's going to happen fast. I mean, you have 17 seconds, literally. By the time, if I'm in a negative energy for more than 17 seconds, automatically that starts to magnify and present itself in warp speed, because the dimensions are so thin now, the veil's so thin, that we have the ability, the power of what we're creating. People don't understand this. You know, if you're in a negative mindset, don't stay there long, because you're going to get exactly what you're thinking about. The same, the polar opposite is true. If you spend 17 seconds and beyond, by the time you hit 68 seconds, literally 17 seconds is all it takes to magnify a desire. Once you hit the 68-second point, if I'm in a meditation or a visualization or just in a deep, appreciation space, at 68 seconds, that energetic is magnified 20,000 times. 20,000 times, literally.
Wow.
So think about that. If you spent 68 seconds on what your dream job was and feeling, getting roles and parts that were exciting, and, that just opening the dream box and just going, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I got a lead role for this? Or wouldn't it be great if, and seeing it and feeling it. And at 68 seconds, boom, boom, boom. Oh, 20,000 times.
Yes.
And then you just milk it for as long as it feels good, and then you let it go. Yeah. You don't worry about the how or the when, or now I got to go effort and push. You let it go, and you just go on about your day. We never have to ask more than once. Yeah. So good.
Interesting. That is so good, because the time that I really did that, it's when I was diagnosed. I had to just let it go, and not dwell on it. Of course, it's so difficult to not, but and then try to be in a really good space, as much as possible.
Yeah.
Which really, really helped, I just took it a day at a time, which is something that I did not used to do before. Always worry, or okay, I got to do this. 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 Constant.
Yeah.
And like you said, when you're sick, you slow down.
I remember when I was so sick from the chemo, and my honey was sitting with me in the living room, and he said, don't you get mad? Haven't you ever gotten mad about this? He said, I can't freaking believe you're always happy. Yeah. Even in your darkest hour, Tamaey. How? And I said, you know what? I said, I don't quite get this one. I don't know why this one really took me down in the way that it did. Mm-hmm. I said, but you know what? I do know in my heart that it's all for me. Yeah. And I sit so sick in total gratitude for this moment. Oh, it touches my heart, because it really is pretty astounding that my mindset, I was just rock solid, but I was deeply connected with source, with who I am. I'd done enough work on myself over all these years. I'd overcome so many obstacles. I knew that this had to mean something, and that me having that experience would inspire somebody else, would evoke this conversation. Yes. And so you and I experiencing what we've experienced, my friend, is serving somebody else who might be going through this now and is wondering, how will I get to the other side? Or what does it mean? It's all for us. So if you are listening to this interview and you have cancer, or somebody close to you has been diagnosed, just know that it's a beautiful, beautiful growth opportunity. It's a teaching moment. It's significant to who you are and why you're here on this planet, and a part of your message. So really be conscious of the language and the thoughts that you're putting out there, and then trusting the guidance that's coming forth. Trusting that, when I was diagnosed, I was not going to do chemo and radiation. I thought, because I had such a deep spiritual belief, and I sat with this, and I did a lot of investigating, and doing the cannabis thing, and which wouldn't work for me. And I'm like, but in my soul, I was like, I'm meant to go through this cancer and radiation. Had my internal guidance said don't, I wouldn't have.
Yep.
But I knew it was relevant, right? Yes. So I love it that you listened and knew that was the proper guidance for you.
Yeah. When it was time is when I did it. When God told me to do it, I did it.
That's right.
And
that's right.
People thought I was crazy. And I can see that because they're in fear of, if I don't do this, oh my God, what's going to happen to her? And I get that, Now I get that. Before I was like, oh my God, no one's listening to me, they think I'm crazy. But I did it when it was time.
Yeah.
And look, you got to listen. That's what we learned, right? To finally listen.
Well, and that's the best advice, we could give anybody listening to this conversation is keep your mouth shut. Don't ask people's opinion about anything.
Yeah.
Trust everything you need to know is inside you already.
Yeah.
When you start to ask questions or get other people's opinions, it's based on their experiences around lack and limitation or debt or sickness or whatever. Don't ask because you don't need it.
Yeah.
Right? Go within yourself. What's the truth around this? And if it doesn't come in that red hot minute, then know that it will. And you'll be in a coffee shop or led to a website or open an email that's going to give you the guidance that you're seeking. But it's from you, through you.
Yeah.
Ooh, so good. I love this.
So good.
So juicy. We come into this human experience to experience it all forms, all shapes, good, bad, dark, light. So at the end of this journey, we can go back home and go, wow.
Yeah.
I did it all. I experienced so much growth in that lifetime. Yeah. So powerful.
It is powerful. Wow. It makes me want to cry when you think about it like that,
That emotion is confirmation of truth. When we get emotional, when we hear something, it's triggering a remembering deep within us. When you listen to a song and the energetic of a song or the vibration of the words coming through a song, this conversation, that emotional response is confirmation of truth. So that's how you know. That's how you know it's true. Do you get the goosebumps? Do you get the emotion? Do you get a visceral response to whatever? And when you start to really pay attention to that is your direct connection to source, that there is no separation, following that, you can't get it wrong. Yeah. The choices will then be a byproduct of your alignment. And that's when we talk about miracles and magic and flow and being in just the grace of God. Yeah. Oh, can I get an amen, sister?
Amen, sister. You're so silly.
I love it. I see the Black Baptist Church. They're going, yeah. I've gone to many of those as a young person, so I love. There's nothing better than a Southern Baptist Black church of just praise and worship. Oh, I love it so much. So good.
You are right.
So good. Oh, thank you for the conversation. It was just magical.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Hmm.
Um, is it okay if I ask you one last question?
Of course. Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Um, so we talked a lot about different things.
Yeah.
How I know this question is probably also related to manifestation, but
Hmm.
to live our heart's desires, like what we really want, how do we do that?
Yeah. I love that question because I love it so much because for the long years and years and years and years, my vision board, my dream list was all the same stuff.
Yeah.
Be speak on big stages, have a multi-million dollar business, travel the world, all the same stuff.
Hmm.
But it was so interesting that as some of that stuff started to, like, for instance, speaking on a big stage, I got an invite last year to speak on a big stage. I didn't enjoy it. I thought, isn't this interesting? I
Yeah.
What I thought I wanted, I really didn't want at all.
Mm.
And I thought, what is that about? Which led me to this internal inquiry about the things that I had on my list. Much of that stuff was based from a foundation of not having, because I grew up in poverty in a very traumatic life, a lot of abuse, a lot of poverty consciousness. So things that I wanted on my list, unbeknownst to me, were coming from that place of not having material things, of not having.
Mm-hmm.
So that so that was an aha for me just last year. Tekquiree, that I thought, isn't this interesting? I've gotten everything that was on my list. But my soul said, that's not really what you wanted anyway. So I had to sit with myself. So to answer your question, you got to sit and go, I'm putting away everything I thought I wanted. And I'm going to just sit here in the void. I'm going to sit here with a blank sheet of paper and go, what do I really want? And really, really, really want. What do I really want? I want freedom. I want to make a lot of money because making a lot of money is going to give me a lot of freedom. I want to spend a month in the UK. And my list just went on and on and on. So it was interesting. I dug deep within myself. What do I really want for me? Not to people please, not the fancy cars, none of that. That'll just come as a byproduct of everything else. I'm going to be true to my soul. What do
Yeah.
I want? And when I really paused and took the time, and it was hard because I thought, I automatically by default went back to my old list.
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, but that's not what I want. That can't be because I've gotten that and I'm not fulfilled.
Yeah.
So start there in the quiet moments when you're in the joy, when you're feeling good, when you're in the bathtub in a hot, juicy bubble bath going, oh, yeah, I want more of this.
Yeah.
And then that thought is going to connect you to what you really, really, really want.
Mhm.
But you've got to get in the space of the quiet, of the introverted awareness of what's going on internally. And then from that space, the list you thought you want will change. And there still are some things on there that were true and authentic to me, but a lot dissipated, a lot changed as I've grown and matured spiritually. What I really want is a simple life.
Yes.
I want a simple life. I want to sleep in and I want my work days to start at 1 o'clock and I want to go deeper into my yoga practice and I want to hike more and I want longer walks on the beach and I want to do all those fun adventures, staying at fancy hotels just for the sake of staying at the fancy hotel,
Yeah.
just to experience that.
Yeah.
So it takes time and it's an unraveling process. And that's the beauty of age, comes wisdom. And as you get older, if you're doing your work and if you're healing your wounds and feeling love and compassion and forgiveness for those who have hurt you so deeply, understanding that they were just playing their part in your story.
Yeah.
That if you could see them in a different light, that you would understand that at the end of this journey, you're a better you because of them.
Mm.
It's living a life of everything is for me. It's all for me. There's nothing that I cannot be or do or have. There's nothing that I cannot manifest just because I wanna. And all I gotta do is align vibrationally to it and believe that I'm so deserving and worthy of it. Because that's also an illusion that we're not worthy. God is perfection. God is all. We are God.
Yeah.
There's no separation, only in our minds. So dream it, dream big, dream powerfully. Surround yourself with things and people who uplift you and support you, and let go of those who don't. Mm.
That's so good.
Mm.
And
I inspire myself. I love it. We each come with a soul's mission. We volunteered to play our role on this planet in our own unique way. And you, by doing this, interview series, and you stepping into remembering who you are, and how do you do that? By just looking at your life. What jazzes you? What excites you? What really lights your fire? That's why you're here, to share that gift with the world. And when you align with the energies of that, that's how you remember who you are. That's why you're here. And then you're just in alignment and going with the flow, and the money and the magic and the miracles are just a byproduct of your alignment. That's it. Magic and miracles, alignment. Remember that. Feel good, appreciate, align with joy, and you're automatically aligned with source.
This was awesome. So much inspiration. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to learn a lot from our conversation in which you shared. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
Well, you guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Bye.